Hello, welcome to the Valenti Videos broadcast. Hi, everybody. I know it's a little dark in here. But I can't really do anything about that. Yeah, it's a little dark. But that's okay. Last VOD is at 2K views. Great stuff. I know. I unironically think the short hair is getting me more views. I'm not kidding. So we've got a little bit of breaking news. We've got this new mineral deal. How dare you call me short with that last video you sent me? You know, you're an idiot, and I hate you. I wish you ill. I wish you the worst. I'm just kidding. I love you so much, Jack. So much. But yeah, we're getting a mineral deal between the U.S., between us and Ukraine. Oh, wait, listen to this. So, granted, this is from Fox. So take everything you hear with a grain of salt. How Trump's mineral deal opens up Ukraine to U.S. investment. Now, listen to this part. After months of often hard-fought negotiations between the Trump regime and its Ukrainian counterparts, Washington and Kyiv has signed what has been dubbed the, quote, minerals deal, and opened the war-torn nation to U.S. investment in not only rare earth minerals, but other energy sectors like oil and gas and related technology. On Wednesday, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Ukrainian Minister of the Economy Yulia signed the U.S.-Ukraine Reconstruction Investment Fund, which means both Washington and Kyiv will invest in new energy investment projects in Ukraine to generate revenue for both nations. The agreement, which gives the U.S. preferential but not exclusive rights to Ukrainian mineral extraction, says any future U.S. military aid, which includes weapons, ammunition, or training, will be considered a contribution to the investment fund. Come here, Bean. Beans. Come here. Bean. Hi, Bean. Bean! Beans! Come here, Bean. Come here, Bean. Oh, wow! Luigi! Good morning, Luigi! Wow, you're awake! You made it! It's a new day! You woke up alive! Wow! Hi, everybody! Oh, okay, so what we read, the mineral deal. What does this mean? This means that American companies are going to start setting up shop in Ukraine. This is Trump's last-ditch effort to try and stop Putin, right? And what this is Trump finally starting to realize that he has no cards. Trump has no cards in his deck. Putin has all the cards. There's no logical reason for Putin to stop pushing into Ukraine. The only logical thing that would make sense for Putin is to just keep on moving and take all of Ukraine, because America is no longer providing military aid or intelligence sharing. Ukraine is barely holding on by a thread. Hi, Chris. Are you going to cover the Republicans in the House not raising their hands in disagreement of deporting U.S. citizens? We are going to cover that. We are indeed going to cover that. But this is Trump's last-ditch effort to stop Putin. And he's so insane. He's so insane that his effort, his method is, well, what if we put American bodies in Ukraine? He can't get authorization to send the military. He doesn't want to be blamed for sending the military. So instead, what he wants to do is set up American companies, send American workers over there, and put them in the crossfire, because he's trying to call Putin's bluff. Saying, well, if Americans are there, you're not going to attack Americans. You're not going to kill Americans. You're not going to blow up American investments. Now, there's, it's a double-edged sword here. It's really about your opinion. This is where your opinion matters. I personally believe Trump may be right when it comes to, I don't think Putin would knowingly, willingly attack U.S. Investments, would attack Americans in Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? But the other side of that coin is, I don't think Putin would stop everything for that. Like, I think Putin would actively work around these American investments, right? If he wants to take this fucking city and there's an American factory right here farming natural gas, I feel like he'll just take everything else, right? Because Trump is also the type of guy that, I want to make a deal. And if Putin is like, we're going to continue our war, but we're not going to fuck with your American investments, Trump would be fine with that. Trump would be totally fine with that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, also, I got permabanned on TikTok again. I am not a communist, Julian. However, hello, fellow communist. House Republicans have voted down an effort to block immigration enforcers from using federal resources to detain or deport U.S. citizens. During a House Judiciary Committee on Wednesday, Democrats tabled amendments to a sweeping budget bill that President Donald Trump has dubbed One Big Beautiful Bill. One amendment, introduced by Representative Pramila Jayapal, the Democrat from Washington State, sought to make clear Immigration and Customs Enforcement cannot detain or deport U.S. citizens under any circumstances. GOP lawmakers killed that. So I don't know if you know this, hopefully they'll cover it in the article. Every single member of the Republican House voted to deport U.S. citizens. Every single member of and a couple of Democrats too. There is a video on it. We'll get to the video. Guys, I need to make this abundantly clear for you. There's a video on it, them raising their hands. I'll try to get it. Jack, if you can find the link too, let me know. You can email me the link. Guys, the Republican Party, every single member of the GOP is an enemy of the state. Every single member of the Republican Party needs to be arrested. I mean this wholeheartedly. Every single person that voted to deport U.S. citizens needs to be arrested. All of them. Hundreds of them. The only way for America to make it out of this fascist hellscape is to stop playing chess, flip the fucking board, and start playing checkers. And I know you're probably like, they're playing checkers, but we're playing chess. That's not the way it goes. Now, we need to make it more simple. We need to get rid of decorum. I will be running for president one day. And right now, If somebody was running for president, I swear to God, this is all we fucking need. If somebody was running for president and got the opportunity to debate Donald Trump, all they need to do on live television, on C-SPAN, is look at the camera. You're the camera on C-SPAN and go like this. My fellow Americans, the man standing next to me is the most pathetic, petulant child who has ever run this nation. And I have only one question for him, and I want you to watch his reaction. And then you turn to Trump. You're Trump now, and you go like this. Mr. President, why are you a pathetic, pathological liar? And you will watch him crumble. And that's also the thing. Do you guys remember just like yesterday in the Oval Office when that guy Terry, you remember Terry? We were watching Terry interviewing Trump, and he was like, but Mr. President, that's clearly Photoshopped. Do you remember this? He was like, Mr. President, that's clearly Photoshopped. Do you remember this, right? You remember this? Yep. Okay. That reporter, we love Terry, but he could have gone further. And I fucking would have. As soon as Trump says, no, that's real, no more topics. There is no other topics for this interview. There's no Ukraine, there's no Russia, there's no Israel. That's where we're stopping and we're going. So, seriously, Mr. President, here's the photo. You think that this Times New Roman MS-13, that is a completely different shade of skin, he actually got, so you're saying that the bottom part represents MS-13, but he instead also got MS-13 tattooed on. Is that what you're saying, Mr. President? You need to hold him in the corner. Yeah, no, he did. And I go, so you're saying that this clearly photoshopped image is real? Yeah, it's real. Mr. President, you're an idiot. Are you calling me an idiot? Mr. President, yes. That is photoshopped. Facts don't care about your feelings. Your opinion is irrelevant. If you genuinely believe this is real, and this is one of the reasons why you deported Kilmar Abrego Garcia, you are incompetent, and we need to have a vote of no confidence. You can no longer be the leader of this nation. That's all you got to say. That's the follow-up question. You fucking grill him. You grill him. You grill him. That's how you do it.
Yes. None.
All right. Let's find Republican House members. Is it in this? Jack, where can I find that video? Looking still? Copy.
My amendment is simple, and I hope that it has bipartisan support. It simply states that none of the funds in this bill may be used by Immigrations and Customs Enforcement to detain or deport U.S. citizens. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, I hope we can all agree that U.S. citizens should never...
We got to record this. Hold on. What's up, guys? Welcome to the latest episode of the Valenti VOD. I'm your perfect and humble leader, Chris Valenti. Every single member of the Republican House just voted to deport U.S. citizens to El Salvador. Every single Republican member of the House just voted to start deporting U.S. citizens to El Salvador. I'm going to say something, and I mean this wholeheartedly. Every single person that put their hand up to start deporting U.S. citizens needs to be charged and arrested for treason. Every single Republican representative that voted to start deporting U.S. citizens needs to be charged and arrested. I stand by that wholeheartedly. I have some sway in my local politics. I do plan on becoming a politician in the future. Perhaps I'll run for president. And I will never forget this moment. And I promise you, we will do everything we fucking can to hold these slimy, anti-American, treasonous rat fucks responsible for the destruction of democracy and the implantation of fascism here in the United States of America. So what we're going to watch here is Representative Pramila Jayapal, a Democrat representative, proposing a new bill that says ICE cannot deport U.S. citizens. You are then going to watch every single Republican vote that down and say, yes, ICE can deport U.S. citizens. At this point, I mean this, if you support MAGA, you are a fascist, you're mentally disabled. I won't forgive you. Nobody will forgive you. We will ensure the fact that your children know what you did, and we will make sure that you never get to pretend that you didn't support this. You're a fascist. However, on the bright side, now that you're seeing fascism, blatant fascism, you can abandon ship. You can join the OAL, the only Americans left. You can become an American again. This is your last chance. If you don't, you are an enemy of the state. That's what you are. You are a fascist and an enemy of the American people. So, let's watch.
My amendment is simple, and I hope that it has bipartisan support. It simply states that none of the funds in this bill may be used by Immigration and Customs Enforcement to detain or deport U.S. citizens. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, I hope we can all agree that U.S. citizens should never be detained by ICE or any agency conducting civil immigration enforcement. They certainly should not be deported. This should not be a partisan issue.
They need to stop saying the word deport. You cannot deport a U.S. citizen out of the United States. You deport somebody back to the nation that they came from. We keep on using the word deportation. This is human trafficking. So let me rephrase this. Every single member of the Republican House just voted for human trafficking of U.S. citizens.
About protecting the most basic constitutional rights of U.S. citizens. My Republican colleagues have loved to profess their commitment to the rule of law, and yet they remain silent as this administration tramples on the civil rights of U.S. citizens under the guise of immigration enforcement. ICE has zero authority to even detain U.S. citizens.
Yep.
As ICE's own policy.
And by the way, ICE knows they have zero authority to do this, which is the reason why those pathetic Gestapo Nazi fucks at ICE cover their faces, they wear sunglasses, they wear shiesties and balaclavas, they don't have badges, they pull up on unmarked vehicles. These pathetic rat husks of people know that what they're doing is illegal. They're also okay with it because the only type of person who can sign up for ICE to become a member of ICE is the most pathetic human being possible. You need to be a hate-fueled, fucking swarmy piece of shit in order to join ICE. You need to hate human beings in order to join ICE. If you have a family member in ICE, they're a horrible person. You need to understand that. If your father is an ICE enforcement agent, he's a horrible piece of shit. Okay? I hope you understand that.
Policy states, quote, as a matter of law, ICE cannot assert its civil immigration enforcement authority to arrest and or detain a U.S. citizen. So I ask unanimous consent, Mr. Chairman, that ICE's policy memo related to detaining U.S. citizens be placed into the record.
Without objection.
And yet, since the second Trump administration began, a troubling pattern has emerged with U.S. citizens being detained by immigration.
What just happened? We are watching every single member of the Republican House just voted yes to human traffic U.S. citizens to El Salvador. Every single member of the Republican House voted yes, we should start human trafficking U.S. citizens.
Authorities. You just saw a video clip that Representative Ballant played. I want to give you a couple of other examples. In late January, only days after President Trump was sworn in, 3 U.S. citizens were out shopping in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A toddler, his mother, and grandmother were detained and sent to an immigration detention center by immigration agents who questioned their immigration.
MAGA supports deporting toddlers. MAGA supports arresting toddlers. MAGA supports detaining toddlers. MAGA does not care about human life. If you are still in MAGA, you are a pathetic husk of a person.
Status just because they were speaking Spanish. Also in January, ICE arrested a U.S. citizen and held him for over 10 hours despite him having his identification documents on him. And just 2 weeks ago, a 19-year-old U.S. citizen from New Mexico, Jose Hermosillo, was detained by the Department of Homeland Security in Arizona and held for nearly 10 days. According to Mr. Hermosillo, he was in town to visit his girlfriend's family when he had a seizure and was taken to the hospital in an ambulance. Upon his release, Mr. Hermosillo approached a DHS official believing that the officer could help him. But instead, the officer accused him of being in the United States illegally and arrested him, despite Mr. Hermosillo saying that he was a U.S. citizen.
So, MAGA watching this, you've reached the point where I don't know what skin color you are. I'm sure most of you are fucking white. But if you voted for Donald Trump and you have even a shade of brown skin, if you have slightly tan skin, the Nazis, the Gestapo, ICE, they're going to hold up a brown paper bag. And when you walk by, they're going to go, hey, hold on, come here. And if you don't follow their orders, you're going to be arrested. And they're going to say, come here. And they're going to go, do you speak Spanish? And if you do speak Spanish, they're just going to arrest you. They're going to say, oh, yeah, I think you're an undocumented immigrant. You're going to pull out your ID and go, I'm a U.S. citizen. They're going to go, that's fake. You're an undocumented immigrant. Then they're going to detain you. They're going to arrest you for 10 days while you wait and 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 wait. And now the 10th day is over. Then and only then, you, MAGA voter, who voted for Donald Trump and are a U.S. citizen, then and only then will you potentially maybe be released. There will be no lawsuit. You won't make any money. There will be no apologies because you elected a fascist. But this is the nation that you have created. Make America great again, right? Are you happy? Are you proud? Isn't Donald Trump the best?
Again, he was held for 10 days until his family was able to locate him. We're talking about a 19-year-old kid who was just released after having a seizure trying to get home. This is truly horrifying. Now, states like Florida are following this administration's dangerous and unlawful deport first and ask questions later approach. Earlier this month, a 20-year-old U.S. citizen in Florida was jailed by local police under a state anti-immigrant law that has already been blocked by a federal judge. Following the arrest of this
The federal judges don't mean anything. The Supreme Court has no power. The Supreme Court ruled unanimously 9-0 to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. The Trump regime told the Supreme Court to go fuck themselves. That's because Donald Trump is not a president. Donald Trump is an authoritarian dictator. If you disagree, you're stupid.
U.S.-born American, ICE issued a detainer request that the local police keep him in jail, even though ICE had zero authority to detain him. And then just this past weekend, as was mentioned earlier, it appears that 3 U.S. citizens were deported, aged 2, 4, and 7.
3 U.S. citizens were deported, aged 2, 4, and 7. MAGA will support this because they are in a death cult and they are all fascists.
In the case of the 2-year-old, U.S. District Judge Terry Doughty, who is a Trump appointee, said this American child received, quote, no meaningful due process.
Well, that's because the Trump regime has been arguing for a couple of months now that there will be no due process for brown people in this nation. MAGA will also support this because they're all fascists. I'm looking at you, fascist.
Based on reports, the child was detained unlawfully by ICE for 3 days until she was deported with her mom, who was undocumented. The child's father had filed a petition to get the child released into his custody, but was not allowed to communicate with the mother. These are not isolated incidents. They are part of a broader, reckless approach to immigration enforcement that is wreaking havoc across our country.
Real quick, guys in my chat, I need you to be a little bit more careful. There are feds in my chat. I know that for a fact. There are literally federal agents embedded in this chat, so please stop saying stupid shit.
A chilling message.
That's not a joke. There are literally federal agents
communities
embedded in this chat.
that they are suspect in their own country solely because of their race, their ethnicity, or their heritage. In fact, there is a great article by New York Magazine that discusses all of these incidents, and again, I'd like to ask unanimous consent to submit that article for the record.
Objection.
What's even scarier is where this is headed. The president has publicly suggested sending U.S. citizens to a gulag in El Salvador with a record of severe human rights abuses. Under the guise of immigration enforcement, this administration is eroding the foundational democratic norms enshrined in our Constitution. Detaining and deporting U.S. citizens because of reckless and indiscriminate immigration enforcement is unconstitutional, dangerous, and fundamentally wrong. And I hope that colleagues on both sides of the aisle would support this amendment.
You're wrong.
I urge every member to make it absolutely clear, no taxpayer dollars should ever be used to violate the rights of U.S. citizens.
So, She said, she was like, well, I hope that everybody can agree. Well, she was wrong. Every single Republican member of the House ended up voting yes to start human trafficking U.S. citizens to the Gulag in El Salvador, as well as 2 more prisons, one of them in Rwanda and the other one in Libya. So American democracy has ended. America has fallen. The fascism is here. We're not like on the slope to fascism. We made it to the bottom. Donald Trump is an authoritarian dictator. There's no more checks and balances. There's no more separation of powers. We need bodies in the street. We need bodies in the street. We need mass protests. You need disruption. You need major strikes. You need nationwide protests. There is no election in 2028. There is no voting this man out of office. There is none of that. He needs to be removed from office. Legally. That's all I've got for you. If you're watching this live, you stay. We've got more to cover. If you're watching this pre-recorded on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We film these videos live. That's why I saw the chat. If you hit that notification bell, you'll be notified next time we go live. Also, this is real independent media. I have no funding, so if you want to help this channel out financially, there's a couple of ways you could do it. You could become a patron on Patreon for $5. Massive shout out to my patrons. You could become a member on YouTube for $5. Massive shout out to my members. You could buy some Valenti Videos merch down below, and you can use that 40% off discount for the Vantage subscription on Ground News down below. Also, click that fucking video right over there. I promise you it's an absolute fucking banger. I'll catch you in the next episode of the Valenti VOD. You have a good one. Oh, geez, Louise. We're so fucked. We're so fucked. This nation is not making it to July 4th, 2026. We're not making it. America's fallen. You're so dramatic, bro. Sodak, can I ask you a couple of questions about America? To see if you have your head screwed on right? Can I ask you just like a couple of questions? We given the test? No, I don't think the test will work with him. I love how mad y'all get. Can I ask you a couple of questions about America? I don't think this guy could be demagified, but I do want to just ask him a couple of questions. Go for it. Okay, basic question. Sodak, do you consider yourself a patriot? You consider yourself a patriot? Thanks, Wandering Widget. Appreciate that. Yeah, okay, so Sodak, you consider yourself a patriot, which means I'm assuming that you support the U.S. Constitution more than you support Donald Trump. Yes? You support the United States Constitution more than you support Donald Trump. Yes? I'm not MAGA, though. Yes, you are. There's no need to pretend. Okay, so Sodak, even though the Constitution says it's illegal, do you support human trafficking U.S. citizens to a gulag in El Salvador? Even though the Constitution says that's illegal, do you support that? Connor. I wouldn't call it trafficking, but yes and no. No, it is trafficking. Okay, well, let's break that down, Sodak. Let's break that down. When you deport somebody, you send them back to the nation they came from, right? Yes or no? When you deport somebody, you send them back to the nation that they came from, yes or no? Are we selling them, though? No, no. We're actually paying El Salvador to use the cell. So we're spending money. We're not making money. The Trump, this isn't even like a conspiracy. The Trump regime admitted this. We are paying El Salvador to take these prisoners. But again, you're avoiding the question entirely, dog. when you deport somebody, you deport them to where they came from, right or wrong? When you deport somebody, do you deport them to where they came from, right or wrong? Don't avoid the question. Yeah, this guy's equating the word trafficking to buying, selling, and trading. I think if you came here illegally, you should get deported, but if you're a minor, we need a better system handling it. All right, so try not to avoid the question. Try to be a big, brave boy. I'm going to ask you slowly. When you deport somebody, you deport them to where they came from, right? Be a big, brave boy. Answer the question. When you deport somebody, you deport them to where they came from, right? Yes, bud, feel better. Okay, yes. So you understand that when you deport somebody, you send them to where they came from. So back to my original question that you avoided with a 10-foot pole, because you know it's going to make you look fascist. Can you deport a U.S. citizen by sending them to a nation they've never been to? Yes or no? Is that still deportation? Can you deport a U.S. citizen born on U.S. soil by sending them to a nation they've never been to? Because the answer to that is no. That's not deportation. Not a U.S. citizen if you don't have proper papers, so word your question better so I can answer. No, they're doing this to U.S. citizens. I have literal video proof of this. We just watched this. But again, let me ask you very easily. Do you support sending U.S. citizens born on U.S. soil to the gulag in El Salvador? That's what they're talking about doing. U.S. citizens born on U.S. soil. No, Trump wants to do that. He said it with his own fucking words. He said it. Converting somebody to the OAL? No, this guy can't be converted. He's one of the cultists. But what we can do is make him feel very stupid. Sodak, we're talking about born on U.S. soil, U.S. citizens being sent to a gulag in El Salvador. Like I said, I ain't MAGA, bro. I didn't like Trump or Kamala, but I still think he's doing better than she would have. So, Sodak, real quick question. Watch this clip and tell me if you agree or not.
You mentioned that you're open to deporting individuals that aren't foreign aliens, but are criminals to El Salvador. Does that include potentially U.S. citizens, fully naturalized Americans?
If they're criminals and if they hit people with baseball bats over their head that happen to be 90 years old, and if they rape 87-year-old women in Coney Island, Brooklyn, yeah, that includes them. What, do you think there's a special category of person? They're as bad as anybody that comes in. We have bad ones, too. And I'm all for it. Because we can do things with the president for less money and have great security. And we have a huge prison population. We have a huge number of prisons, and then we have the private prisons, and some are operated well, I guess, and some aren't. But he does a great job with that. We have others that we're negotiating with too. But no, if it's a homegrown criminal, I
agree with that fully. If you commit crimes to that degree, I don't want them here either. Okay, so you don't support the United States Constitution. You don't support American values. because in America, even the most heinous criminals in the United States, they get thrown in American prisons. They get due process. We don't deport them and extradite them to foreign nations. So you don't support American values, right? That's what you're saying. You don't support American values. Sodak, you're an anti-American. What's your opinion on non-MAGA Republicans? Seems like we were cowards, but there's not much we can do. For non-MAGA Republicans, it is your job to be as vocal as you can about how Donald Trump has destroyed your party. Except they get out in 3 months and do it again. So instead of avoiding the question like a coward, why don't you just say it with your chest? You do not support the United States Constitution. Say it. Because the Constitution says that all persons in the United States are entitled to due process under the law, and extraditing them to a foreign nation is considered cruel and unusual punishment, which is a violation of the 14th Amendment, which you don't know anything about because you can't read. So, buddy, why don't you just admit that you don't support American values? You support terminating the Constitution and exporting our criminals to foreign gulags. You're not American. I feel bad for all the people you're brainwashing. Really? You just admitted yourself. This is brainwashing? Let's play it again for you, fucking idiot.
That's your open.
This is what you support, full-chested. Brother, there's no point to even debating you. We're laughing at you. You are a joke. You're a member of about 15 to 30% of the U.S. population that is in a death cult. There's absolutely nothing Donald Trump can do that will make you stop supporting him. You're pathetic.
To
You're a
deporting,
bootlicking cuck.
individuals that aren't foreign aliens but are criminals.
This is
to
what you
El
support.
Salvador. Does that include potentially U.S. citizens, fully naturalized Americans?
If they're criminals and if they hit people with baseball bats over their head that happen to be 90 years old, and if they
Y'all get so mad? Yes, because we're actually patriots. We actually care about our country. We care about the Constitution. We care about the rule of law. I care about democracy. So I get mad when there are fascists, such as yourself, who are advocating to destroy the Constitution and the very integrity of this nation because you're a bootlicking cuck and your big orange Führer wants a third term. So you are okay with him doing absolutely everything. Why? Because you're a bootlicking cuck.
rape 87-year-old women in Coney Island, Brooklyn. Yeah, that includes them. What, do you think there's a special category of person? They're as bad as anybody that comes in. We have bad ones too. And I'm all for it. Because we can do...
Trump saying that might also put fear into people to not do those crimes. Oh, this is a child. Oh, that's a child. Trump saying that might also put fear into people to not do those crimes. If that's actually the way that your brain operates, I don't believe that you're older than 15 years old. The threat of violence will stop crime. Yeah, because it's not like we had a threat of incarceration for the past 300 fucking years.
Things with the president for less money and have great security. And we have a huge prison population. We have a huge number of prisons, and then we have the private prisons, and some are operated well, I guess, and some aren't. But he does a great job with that. We have others that we're negotiating with too. But no, if it's a homegrown criminal, I have no problem. Now, we're studying the laws right now. Pam is studying. If we can do that, that's good. And I'm talking about violent people. I'm talking about really bad people. Really bad people. Every bit as bad as the ones coming in.
So again, that is what MAGA supports. We have proof of that in our chat. We have an actual cultist in the chat. Very proud. Y'all think I'm being for real, and I love it. Get mad. Jack, permaban Sodak. Sodak, suck my dick. Bye, Sodak. Dude, just so you guys understand, that is not a troll. He's not a troll. That's not a troll. Don't fall for that. That's not a troll. He just felt embarrassed, and now for the first time, his belief system is starting to crumble. So the first out that he could reach to was being a troll. He's not trolling. That's not a troll. This is how most MAGA will abandon MAGA. They'll do it quietly. They'll fade out of it. They're not going to say, I voted for Donald Trump and I love Donald Trump and I loved him, but he betrayed me and I'm no longer a supporter. No, they're going to slowly fade out. They're going to say that they were just trolling the libs and that you guys fell for it. No, I never voted for Donald Trump. That's what they're going to do. That's how this works. That's why I tell you, you cannot allow these people to move on. For the rest of your fucking life, you need to hold their toes to the fire. You need to make sure that if you know somebody who voted for Donald Trump, who supported everything Donald Trump did, who still supports Donald Trump, if they end up having a child, once that child is old enough to understand politics, you need to tell them, yeah, your father supported Donald Trump. Your father is a fascist. Your father supported deporting U.S. citizens. Your father supported getting rid of due process. You need these children to know that they are being raised by Nazis. And as somebody who has plenty of MAGA friends, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make sure their kids know that they're raised by fucking fascists. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. So to anybody watching this that's MAGA, I hope you know that you're not moving past this. We're going to make sure you feel this for the rest of your life. I voted for him, unfortunately, but he's made a joke out of the GOP. We need better candidates on both sides that are more moderate, in my opinion. The past few years have just been clowns in office. Yeah, but I think that in order to have voted for Donald Trump in 2024, there's only three possibilities. One, you're wildly uneducated and gullible. Two, you're incredibly rich and will benefit from his campaign, from his presidency. Three, you're genuinely a xenophobic, Christian nationalist racist, and you're not gonna fiscally benefit, but mentally you'll benefit from this. Those are the only three people that could have possibly voted for Donald Trump. That's it. That's it. Yes, when World War II ended, they made the German people see with their own eyes what they had condoned. There was a 20-year-long denazification period of Germany, where we sent UN peacekeepers who forcefully, dragging people by their fucking ears, forced them to see the concentration camps, forced them to undig the mass graves and pull out all the bodies. That's the right thing to do. That's what this is. You need a demagnification period. Uneducated doesn't inherently mean stupid. No, uneducated means uneducated. I'll admit it, I was a crypto dude, but I know fascism when I see it. I didn't vote for him, but I thought he was going to be doing good things for that. I was ignorant. You and every other crypto bro thought that he was going to be good for crypto. Reason being, crypto is a scam. The entirety of cryptocurrency is a scam. That's what it is. It's a bit... If you're in crypto, you're here to make money, right? You're here to pump and make money. It has nothing to do with actual tangible products or value or anything. You're just in it to make money. That's everyone. Everyone in crypto is just in it for the hustle. It's a train that is barreling towards a fucking wall. So you and everybody else thought that he was going to do good because it's a scam and Donald Trump is the king of scams. The thing is, you're not rich enough to be in on the scam. He's talking about the ultra rich. They're going to benefit from it. Not you. How you doing, Siege, bro? I'm pretty sure Siege Pro was somebody we converted yesterday. Welcome back, Siege. Right? Was that somebody we converted yesterday, or am I wrong? This was my first election ever voting, and I gotta say, I was looking at the benefits. I'm more of a libertarian than anything, but I felt Republicans more aligned with that. Now I regret my vote. The Republicans are not aligned with libertarian values. Republicans pretend to be all about small government. That's not true. What Republicans, there's like large government and small government. That's what you think. The Republicans don't want either. The Republicans want my government. They want mine. They don't want a small or a large government. They just want a government that works not for the people, but for conservative values. That's why you're seeing the abolishment of the Department of Education, the creation of the Department of Faith. They're pushing you have to be teaching pro-Christian values in public schools in order to receive federal funding. They want the government to only serve Christian nationalist conservative values. That's it. That's it. It's fucking insane. I'm going to grab another cup of coffee, chat. Here, one sec. Yo, real quick, does any... Oh, I also really wish I could smoke some bud. Real quick, does anybody have the name of the TikToker that does, like, the running stuff, and she did a running interview with Caroline Levitt? She did a running interview with Caroline Levitt. Also, give me 1 second. Try to find the name of that woman. I'll be right back. I'm coming back. I just gotta take a piss. All right, sorry. Sorry. Hope you're all doing good. We're doing great, Siege. I'm very happy to see you here again. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, did anybody find the name of that TikToker who does running interviews? And she interviewed Caroline Levitt. Won't lie, Chris, I missed the main. Hey, man, as the guy who had it on his head, I really don't. What is that woman? Kate Max. Oh, Jesus. All right, check this out. Do you guys want to see? Let me explain something to you. I'm going to make a video out of this. Hey, welcome. I want to explain something to you. Real independent media looks like this. Okay? Actual independent media. People who don't have funding from some billionaire or some foreign government or an advertiser or a sponsor, right? It looks like a dude in a fucking in a room with a cat and a barking dog that I can't get to shut up. That's what it looks like. Okay? These fucking phony ass fake independent media, new total media journalism that are being welcomed in the White, like fucking Tim Pool and Kate Max and all these. This is bullshit. The same way that legacy media like CNN and Fox News and MSNBC, they are paid and bought for, but they're orchestrated. They're designed to look like it's independent media. That's what you're going to start seeing with like TikTokers and social media accounts. And what I want to show you is the latest example of it, okay? Because this is kind of going viral on TikTok. So there's this woman, Kate Max, okay? Now, I had never heard of this woman until yesterday. But what I did see is this video a long time ago.
Governor, how many miles are we?
When was this posted?
Governor, how many miles are we?
So October 23rd of 2024, this TikToker does some orchestrated. Now this is what I'm saying, okay, about like an orchestrated interview where he's already wearing the fucking microphone, the whole thing's planned, the whole thing's scripted, and look at everybody going, this is the best collaborator, this is the best.
Running today.
Right?
Let's start with a mile and see what goes from there. Hey everybody, Tim Walz here. I happen to be the governor of Minnesota right now, a VP candidate running a mile.
I want to explain something to you. The act of running in and of itself, the act of running, physically running.
With Kate.
That is political. It always has been. It's a political act. The same thing with like people going on marches, right? It's sort of to show strength. It's to show willingness. It's to show that you are alive. Like Joe Biden can't fucking do that. Donald Trump can't fucking do that. Those people are not capable of actually representing you, right? Now I want to show you what this fucking woman decided to do yesterday. She met up with Satan.
Hey, how many miles are you running today? No miles because we're at the beautiful White House, but why don't I give you...
You hear that? No miles. This whole account is about running. That's why Tim... And she goes, no, we're not running. You're just going to do a fucking propaganda piece for us. No running needed, no run... The whole channel is about doing running interviews.
Hey, how many miles are you running today? No miles because we're at the beautiful...
I gotta turn it up. They're so quiet. Their microphone sucks. Their microphone is terrible.
How many miles are you running today? No miles because we're at the beautiful White House, but why don't I give you a tour?
It's so quiet.
My name is Caroline Levitt. I am from New Hampshire, and I
Putting it up
am
to
the White
max.
House Press Secretary, and this is the beautiful White House. We're currently walking on what we call Pebble
I see the problem.
Beach. This is where all of the press hang out.
Guys, we have to stop for a second and look at this.
Guys, we have to stop for a second and look at this. I mean, look at the way that the tortured souls are screaming.
I can't believe you get to wake up and be here every single day. Is this a dream come true for you?
It is a dream
come true for you?
Come true. The White House is so beautiful, especially this time of year. That's where President Trump and the first family lived. And then
this is I guarantee you Stephen Miller orchestrated this entire thing, the propaganda minister, because this is giving the same energy as like Eva Braun's lost tapes recording Hitler and his right-hand men at the fucking Eagle's Nest having like drinks and caviar and going, oh, it's so nice. Meanwhile, in the fucking shadows, we got millions of people fucking burning and being gassed. You know what I mean? That's what this is giving. It's giving, there is no war in Ba Sing Se. It's giving, we are the party of love. It's giving, do not believe what your lying eyes are seeing. That's what this is giving.
The front entrance to the West Wing.
What is your roles and responsibilities at the White House?
Yeah, my job is to relay the president's message and his agenda and his views and feelings to the American people through the press.
What is your favorite space at the White House.
Well, why don't we go right in here and I will show you. And here you are, James S. Brady.
It's a girl doing her job. No, it's not a girl doing her job. It's a girl refusing to ask a single question about the genuine issues. If this fucking interview, why not bring up a single thing about the crashing stock market, about the destruction of due process, about the Doge dismantling our government institutions, about Kilmar Abrego Garcia, about anything substantive? All this is a puff piece, and it's bought and paid for. It's bought and paid for.
Briefing room. It's historic and it is quiet right now, but typically on a briefing day you would walk in here and it will be packed with journalists from all across the world who show up to the briefings to ask me questions.
It's a lot more intimate than I thought.
That's the initial reaction of everyone who comes in here. It's way smaller than you would imagine. We need to make it bigger so we can allow more voices in.
What do you do for preparation before walking into this room?
I pray to God before every briefing. It's a moment to just grab
Pray to God to help you with the fucking lies. You pray, you go, Lord, I know I'm about to lie through my fucking teeth to 370 million people, but please, please accept me into the pearly gates when I get there because I know I am a sinner. That's what you're fucking praying about, you laminated-faced cunt.
Myself and level set, but before the prayer comes a lot of preparation. My team and I are just reading the news, consuming everything. I talk to the president multiple times before I take the podium to fully understand what he's thinking and feeling so I can relay it to the public.
How far is your office from the Oval Office?
Okay. It's just a few steps away if you want to come check it out. So this is the infamous blue door that we walk out of, and this is what we call lower press. This is where my incredible team sits every day. This is Liz, that's Davis, Pat.
Nice to meet you.
We also have Harrison in here, Anna, and we have Kush, and they are...
I'm so glad they're showing us what these fucking people look like and giving us their fucking names so that we can hold them accountable for being the Nazi fucks that they are.
The front lines of the White House press shop. This used to be my seat here when I was an assistant press secretary.
You're good.
Max, if you're not already. She's an icon. This is my office. I have obviously photos of myself with the president. You also have a picture of me, and that's my baby, my 9-month-old son. That was from our senior staff swearing in.
Oh, is that the baby you had with your 60-year-old husband? Even though you're 27, you're my age? Is that the baby you had with your 60-year-old husband?
Ceremony. And then this picture here is from my first briefing. This is my fun little cork board. This is a 7th grade class from Georgia who came to visit. Their dad is one of my colleagues here in the White House, and they asked if I could go speak to the students, and they wrote me and signed this cute little thing. Another picture of my baby on his first Air Force One flight. And then this is a meme that I love. It's a man pointing at a brain, and it says, "No thanks, I won't be needing that because I believe everything the legacy."
Wait.
Baby on his first Air Force One flight. And then this is a meme that I love. It's a man pointing at a brain.
She's 27? She's 27? I gotta double check this, because that is boomer humor. That is boomer humor. How old is Caroline? She's 27. There's her husband. 60. 32-year age gap. Very rushed marriage, by the way, because they weren't married when she was chosen to be the press secretary. So they had this rushed fucking marriage. It's all on her Instagram. Because no, they couldn't have a God-fearing woman who has a child out of wedlock as the press secretary. No, no, no.
And it says, "No thanks, I won't be needing that because I believe everything the legacy media shows." So look, we want critical thinking around here.
You started out as a White House intern during Trump's first term. What is it like now being back and being the White House press secretary for him?
It's crazy. I mean, it has totally come completely full circle. Every day when I come into work, I try to remember what a blessing it is to work in this building and to remember the policies we're implementing are truly impacting so many lives. Don't forget.
They are. The policies you're implementing truly are impacting so many lives. I can name a few lives. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, Mahmoud Khalil, Rumeja Ataturk. Is that her last name? Or Ataturk? Whatever. I don't know the name of the 7-year-old, the 4-year-old, and the 3-year-old that you deported. But yeah, you're definitely impacting a lot of lives. Ozturk. Yeah, Rumeja Ozturk. Yeah, I could think of a bunch of lives.
It's the people's house. It belongs to the American taxpayer and the American public. This place is
we've got a welcome to a better America, Chris. If you don't like it, then you can leave.
For the president, it is not
yeah,
for the
brother.
people that work here. It's for the American people, which is why you see tours almost every single day, because it belongs to all of you.
What is a quote or motto that you live by?
God is within her. She will not fail. Hi, guys.
Look who we ran into 1 week after hanging out with
What the
Patrick.
fuck?
It belongs to all
my
of you.
God, he's
What
gonna
is
be
a quote
pissed.
or motto that you live by?
God is within her. She will not fail. Hi, guys.
Look who we ran into.
He's gonna be pissed. His career, he's about to get a lot of flack online. How old are you?
One-
I'm 27. I'm fucking 27 years old. I'm the same exact age as Caroline Levitt. Take this in for a second. Here are the two extreme sides. You've got a fascist, that's Caroline Levitt at 27. And then you've got a democratic socialist, that's me at 27. Look at what happens when you go fascist. The fucking establishment sucks you up and goes, oh, we're gonna prop your shit up. We're gonna give you so much money. We're gonna make you look great. Because they are the swamp. This is the swamp.
Week after hanging out with Patrick. We gotta get you on the running show.
Sure, I'm into running and talking at the same time.
Yeah.
You just never know who you're going to see at the White House. By the way, this is the president's Tesla, which he so generously has told
We love Tesla. Everything's computer.
staff that we are allowed to drive if we wish to take it out. I haven't taken him up on the offer, but maybe I will soon.
If you guys see Caroline whipping around that red Tesla, you
know
whose it
why.
is.
So we are here in the South Court Auditorium in the Eisenhower Executive Office Building. So why don't we sit down and have an interview? Here we go. Hey!
Oh, so yeah, it's giving the same as like, I got invited to interview Eva fucking Brown, and despite all of the evil shit that her husband has been doing, I was surprised by how beautiful the Reichstag is. Look at these beautifully no-wrinkled swastika flags. Now, we're gonna go out into the Untergarten and take a look at where we grow the azaleas. Like, oh my God. Oh my God, bro. Fuck, dude. And it's also just so you know, we're seeing the same thing with like Bill Maher, you know? Like Bill Maher just went and visited with Trump and had dinner with Trump and came back blowing him and cradling his nuts and going, well, he's not really the evil man. He was so funny and so nice. And then immediately, what's his fucking name? The guy from, the comedian from Curb Your Enthusiasm. I know somebody's gonna get so mad at me for forgetting this guy's motherfucking name. Larry David. Larry David ended up writing an op-ed called My Dinner with Hitler. And literally just took the transcript from Bill Maher's monologue about how great of a man Trump is, and just changed Trump to Hitler and Stephen Miller to Goebbels and like Pete Buttigieg to Goring, and like he just changed the names and wrote the exact same fucking thing, and it's fucking remarkable. It's absolutely remarkable. I mean, maybe I could even find this. Larry David, My Dinner with Adolf. Oh my God. I think we should fucking read this. So, I hope you guys have seen that, like, Bill Maher, who was like, oh my God, you have to pay for this? I'm not fucking paying for this. We're not paying for this. We'll cover this in another video, I think, because I am not fucking paying for that. But, listen, thank you for tuning into the Valenti VOD. If you're watching this live, you stay. If you're watching this pre-recorded on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It costs you nothing, and it helps me immensely. I'll catch you in the next episode of the Valenti VOD. Bro, I'm pissed. There's a paywall behind Larry David's piece. Larry David, My Dinner with Adolf. Do I really have to pay for this, bro? Oh, now I don't. Oh, yes, I do. Fuck it. I might pay for it. Should I pay? Does anybody have a way for you to see it, without paying? You just got to remove the code for Control Q, then copy text. Wait, what the fuck? Look. Here's what we're dealing with. This is the opinion. Larry David, My Dinner with Adolf, but it's locked here. What am I supposed to do to get around this? Control Q, and then post it in a Word document. Really? This'll do it? You're not fucking with me? Because you've led me astray before, dog. Last time you told me to click a series of buttons, it almost fucking shut everything down. So are you dead ass right now? Motherfucker told me to Alt F4. Lib doesn't know how to work a computer? Yeah, no. I don't. Also, I'm not a lib. I'm a democratic socialist. And I am like a monkey without thumbs, bro. I have no idea how to work a computer. You can also just look it up online. That's what I'm looking at, bro. Free. Trying to teach people politics? Yes. More like a democatartic commie? Nah, Boba Fett's trolling. Democratic Socialist, tell me more. I believe in the democratization of the workforce and that our tax dollars should be going into programs that help the most marginalized members of our society and also make life easier for the average working man. So what does that mean? Minimum wage in the federal minimum wage hasn't raised since 2009. I believe that we the people should be allowed to vote on increasing the minimum wage and forcing our representatives to do so. I believe the same thing with paid time off, vacation hours, benefits, all that. On top of that, I believe that most of our tax dollars should be going into programs that boost the infrastructure of our cities. Maybe something like creating a national monorail system that connects all 50 states with railways, the way that we did with the trains, but do that with monorail so that we don't, the average train in the United States moves 48 miles per hour. The average train in China moves, I think, 238 miles per hour. Now, I'm no fucking, what do they call them? Tankies. I'm no tanky. But I see a fast train and I go, why can't we have that? How is it communist to want a fast train? You know what I'm saying? Just little things like that. Once Trump brings back true America, he will probs do half of what you said. He's just got to fix the nation first. So I don't know what you mean by true America. And probs do half of what you said. No, he'll never do that because this nation, he's boosting the car industry, bro. This nation relies on the car industry and the highway system and this terrible fucking bullshit that we constructed. We do not, like the powers that be do not want a monorail system because that would, directly fuck with the profit margins of the car industry. Trump's got us in the golden era, brother. Just wait a year. Trump doesn't have us in the golden era. The stock market just had a worse April than it had in 1932 during the Great Depression. The value of the US dollar has plummeted lower than it fucking ever has been in the modern era. We're being kicked out of NATO. NATO is drawing a proposal to remove us from NATO. Donald Trump is threatening war with 6 different nations. The average American is living, 60% of Americans are living, or 40% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Like, no, what are you talking about? Good, we don't need NATO. Okay, so you just don't want the United States to be a member of the strongest alliance in human history. I have to tell you, you're stupid. Is NATO perfect? No. Do European nations not pay enough into NATO? Yeah, they need to be paying more. But is the solution to that for America to withdraw from the strongest alliance in human history? Only an idiot would support that. And I'm not surprised that Donald Trump's supporters also support withdrawing from NATO. You were stupid enough to vote for Donald Trump. And yeah, no shit. You're probably going to think that we should just pull out of NATO. We should team up with people that actually support us. What the fuck does that mean? Every nation supports themselves. You make allies through mutual interests, right? We're not allies with the British because they support us. We're allies with the British because we have the same fucking things in mind. We have the same vested interests in the Middle East and oil and conquest. What the fuck do you think allies are for? It's not because why do you think we're allies with the Brits? Because we want what's best for them? No, it's because we're getting something out of that, and they're getting something out of that. It's called a quid pro quo. That's what fucking allies are for. We always help others and don't get help. So fuck NATO. What help are you talking about? What do you want? You want European nations to send you a check? What the fuck are you talking about? I thought you were to pull yourselves up by your bootstraps and now you're fucking advocating for communism? What the fuck are you talking about? What help do you need? We were the only nation in NATO's history to call upon our allies through the use of Article 15 after 9/11. We're the only fucking nation that even got help from other nations. Why do you think the Canadians and the Brits helped us get bin Laden? Because 9/11 happened there too? No, dumb fuck. It's because we declared Article 15. We got attacked, so our allies came to fucking help us, dumbass. What the fuck are you talking about? We're the only ones that got help. Sorry, not Article 15. Article 5. My bad. Russia and China are the real allies. Listen, I have no beef with Russian people. I have no beef with Chinese people. But don't you find it ironic that you, suddenly, that Donald Trump has taken over, want to ally with two authoritarian dictators who run fascist regimes? Vladimir Putin is not a communist, you dumb fuck. Xi Jinping is not a communist, you dumb fuck. Those are fascist authoritarian leaders. Russia is a great ally with the US. Oh my god, that's a Russian bot. Я готов отвечать, комрад 004. Да, развед. Желание. Развед. Я готов отвечать. Желание. Развед. I only speak a Mercian, brother. Okay, Boba Fett's a troll, but still, don't ban Boba Fett. Boba Fett gives me a chance to get my opinions out there. Most effective lie the U.S. ever told was that authoritarian fascists are communists. Literally. Literally, yes. Why am I the only person who recognizes that when you do it? I don't know. Развед и желание. The China is communist. Boba Fett's troll. Let's see how Trump's doing on Truth Social. Because he usually crashes out right around this hour. Also, should we watch Hassan's debate with Ethan Klein? All right, let's see. Got some fucking 3-minute long video here.
President Trump kicking off another busy week at the White House.
It has been.
President Trump kicking off another busy week at the White House.
It has been yet another eventful week in Washington.
The activity level is off the charts. The president dialed in. He is executing his agenda.
Bro, these edits, these like Trump regime deportation edits probably hit so fucking hard if you're dumb as shit.
lightning fast pace. Here's something we rarely see in American politics. President Trump is actually keeping his campaign promises, and he's doing them as quickly as possible.
This administration's moving at political light speed, and they're just getting started.
We're going to have one shot at this, and no other president's going to do what I'm doing. Goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form.
Yo, I think I gotta record this. What's up? I'm on Trump's Truth Social, and he shared this video, and now I don't know if this is an old video or some shit, and I'm just late to the party, but like, it's fucking crazy. This is silver spoon propaganda. This is worse, like, so fucked. And the problem is that it's good. This is really well made. And this is all Stephen Miller. This is Goebbels, the propaganda minister. This motherfucker, he knows that, like, if you're dumb as shit, these, like, edits, these, like, fascism edits hit so fucking hard. Like, I'm watching this and I'm mesmerized because I know what fascism is and I can recognize it, and I'm like, this is not only fascist, but it's beautifully gilded in the American flag, right? Because that's how fascism showed up in America. It didn't come into America goose-stepping and sig-heiling. Fascism came to America wrapped in the American flag, singing the national anthem, holding the torch of freedom. But beneath the jacket was the swastika. That's how fascism got here. And that's how they're going to keep on infecting the mind of the youth. This is, bro, you need to watch this from the perspective of, like, a 16-year-old white man from a small rural area, and everyone in town voted for Trump. You're 16 years, you've never voted, but you can vote in 2028. And you're already hearing about Trump 2028, yada, yada, yada. And then you see this.
President Trump kicking off another busy week at the White House.
It has been yet another eventful week in Washington.
The activity level is off the charts. The president dialed in. He is executing his agenda at a lightning fast pace. Here's something we rarely see in American politics. President Trump is actually keeping his campaign promises, and he's doing them as quickly as possible.
This administration's moving at political light speed, and they're just getting started.
We're going to have one shot at this, and no other president's going to do what I'm doing. Goodbye.
This part, watch the hats.
Love you.
This is MAGA.
We'll be
The
back
hat.
in some form. Have a good life. We will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's official. Former President Donald Trump will be running for president again in 2024.
Donald Trump got the stamina and the will to do this again? He's come under such tremendous...
Everything is on the line in this election.
A busy day in the campaign world up in Butler today. Former President Trump holding a rally at 5 o'clock.
He just tried to kill President Trump.
Not even an assassin's bullet could stop him.
It feels like the climax of a superhero movie.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. They're trying to paint him out to be like a god, like sent by God. They're trying to paint him out to be an actual superhero. This is the most cult-like shit I've ever seen.
First act, up 2016. The second act, 2020. The third act, he almost dies. And then what happens?
Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
Rare in American politics, a presidential sequel.
He believes he has a, quote, mandate to bring common sense back to the country.
It's our time to take up the righteous cause of American liberty and begin the most thrilling days in the history of our country. This will be our greatest era. With God's help, over the next 4 years, we are going to lead this nation even higher, and we are going to forge the freest, most advanced, most dynamic, and most dominant civilization ever to exist on the face of this earth.
He has the opportunity.
This is what I mean. You hear that? I need you to stop listening to it as if, like, you're a leftist, like you probably are. Think of this as a confused 16-year-old Christian white man in a rural area, white kid White kid, everyone around you votes for Trump. You hear that? We're going to build the most dominant society in the history of human civilization. Well, I mean, listen, that sounds great and all. That sounds great and all. But what about all the bad shit? What about all the bad shit? Who's going to get hurt in the process?
To reset everything around the world.
Under President Trump's leadership, the message to America's enemies is loud and clear. Peace through strength is back.
No amount of hysteria, no amount of fear-mongering is going to shake the president's resolve.
This is the wholesale destruction of the liberal state. He is gutting liberal Washington, D.C. in a way that they say could be permanent.
47 means business. The White House is holding all the cards.
I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success.
The bottom line is whether you like Trump or you don't like him, you can't say that he's coming and not try to deliver, and he's doing so in historic fashion.
A tide of change is sweeping the country. Sunlight is pouring over the entire world, and America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before.
Jesus Christ, bro. Jesus Christ. It's so jingoistic. You know, like nationalistic isn't even the word to use, because this isn't even about America. This isn't about the nation. This is about Donald. This is all about Donald. The whole thing's about Donald, Donald, Donald. You know? And then, like, here, let me bring up the chat so you can see this, because we are recording this on YouTube. You're mad because he's going after the people who pay you. That's the thing. We've reached a point in American society where if you don't support the supreme leader, you must be getting paid by the opposition. You must be a paid and bought for propaganda. Like, you cannot have a differing opinion from the establishment lest you be accused of, like, being a paid shill or having anti-American values or being a Marxist Leninist. Like, and I'm going to keep the chat up just for a little bit so that the people watching this on YouTube can see. He goes, yes, you are. That's my point. These people are so brainwashed. There's no saving them. And that's why I've said this before, and we've said it many times on this channel. There are plenty of MAGA people who we've converted back to the OAL, the Only Americans Left, live on this channel. But about 20 to 30% of the nation are literally in a fascist cult where there's nothing that Donald Trump can say or do that will make them stop supporting him. Nothing at all. See, this guy goes, you wouldn't support Trump if you weren't. That's my point. He's saying if I wasn't paid by, I don't know, he probably thinks the DNC. He's saying, well, if you weren't paid by them, you would support Trump because everybody supports Trump, because you can't not support Trump unless you're being paid for it. America has fallen. There is no more, like, we're talking about thought crime. We're talking about thought crime. Again, so if you're here live, you stay. We're going to keep the live stream going. If you're watching this pre-recorded on YouTube, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It costs you nothing and it helps me immensely. This is real independent journalism, despite what the fascists in my chat may think. I have no funding. I've never had a conversation with a billionaire or a government or an advertiser. So if you do want to help support the channel, there's a couple of ways you could do it. You could become a patron on Patreon for $5. Massive shout out to my patrons. You could become a member on YouTube for $5. Massive shout out to my members. You could buy some Valenti Videos merch down below, and you could use a 40% off discount on the Vantage subscription for Ground News down below. And you should also click that video that's going to pop up over there on screen. I promise it's a fucking banger. I'll catch you in the next video. All right, Jesus. I'm glad he got rid of Meals on Wheels. Why is that? 67 million elderly people relied on Meals on Wheels to get their food. Why do you support 67 million elderly Americans not getting their food? You're un-American, Chris. No, I'm not. I'm far more American than you. Not the government's job to support people. So you just don't want... So the 67 million elderly people in the United States who were relying on Meals on Wheels to get their food, what if they just go hungry? Are you okay with them just going hungry? Because we're talking about elderly people who are often disabled and incapable of getting up and going to the store. Thank you for the $2, Curacao. Welcome, Gemini. They forget you can become disabled at any time. No, they don't consider disabled people to be people. We're talking about fucking fascists, bro. You need to stop giving these people grace. Not the government's job to support people. Gecko, they don't consider them people. Goes to their apps that bring you food. You're so fucking stupid, dude. Meals on Wheels is what the elderly use. Do you think that 90-year-old elderly women know how to use a fucking app like Uber Eats? The program would bring the food to them. It's not free food. It's paid into with your fucking tax dollars, you goofball. These people are like decrepit. They can't go get food themselves. They don't know how to use iPhones. These are the elderly, dog. They were born in 1930. They don't know how to use apps. You think 90-year-olds are stupid? No, you fucking idiot. I think 90-year-olds are 90 years old. They don't know how to use these apps. They don't want to learn how to use these apps. They don't have to learn. They've earned the right to just sit on their couch and watch baseball. It's dude, can I ask you one question, Texas Carnage? Like a genuine question. I want to ask you a genuine question. Do you think that when they cut Meals on Wheels, that your tax, the amount of money you pay in taxes went down because they cut that program? Do you think that you are going to benefit by getting rid of Meals on Wheels? Ben says, okay, so Ben, you're stupid. Yes, simple. No, okay, you guys are stupid. Trump's tax plan is available. Your taxes are not going down at all. Went down? No. Okay, so Texas, you understand that the amount of money you're going to pay in taxes isn't going to go down, but you're okay with just getting rid of this program that brings food to the elderly, often veterans from World War II, who are decrepit and disabled and cannot get food by themselves. You're just okay with that. Excuse me. He's getting rid of income tax. No, he isn't. That's a lie. Same thing with no tax on tips. The reason why we know this is a lie is because the Republican budget proposal was already proposed, and it doesn't include anything about no tax on tips or income tax. It includes none of this. So you're incorrect. Yeah, sure, buddy. Dude, you don't need to believe me. His budget proposal is available online. This was months ago. I covered this for months. You are part of those stupid fucking people who just don't read and you believe everything Donald Trump says. There is no mention of no tax on tips. There is no mention of cutting income tax. None of that is in the budget proposal. What is in the budget proposal is lowering the amount of taxes that the 1% pays down to 0% because they truly believe in trickle-down economics, which I'm sure you also believe in because you're stupid. You probably believe that if we let the rich get richer, then I'm gonna get richer. You're dumb. I can't help you. You're dumb. There's uneducated, and then there's dumb. You're both. You're probably wildly uneducated, but you're also dumb. I can't help you. That doesn't work, I know that. Then why do you support trickle-down economics? Trump's tax proposal is to lower the 1%'s taxes to 0% so they don't pay any more taxes based on the belief that if they make more money, it's going to trickle down to the rest of you. Why do you support trickle-down economics if you just said you know it doesn't work? You just said you know it doesn't work, and yet you support it. That's why I'm saying you're stupid. That's not uneducated. Uneducated would be, I think trickle-down economics works, because you wouldn't know what it is. You wouldn't have had that education. Stupid is knowing it doesn't work and still advocating for it. That's what I'm saying. You're stupid. Because to run up's got a plan. Yeah, bro, you're dumb. You're dumb. I can't help you. You're wildly stupid. You are part of that 20 to 30% that nobody can help. You're in a cult, dog. You're in a cult. Dude, you probably see this and think it's real, right?
As President Trump would say, it's going to be the best economy anybody has ever seen. Look, we got a market that is reflecting that, and he's just done a huge deal with Ukraine, establishing this U.S.-Ukraine...
So let me ask you something to the MAGA supporters. You see this and you think everything's going great, right? Do you, like, you buy this? This is what I'm saying. Fox News is so fucking dangerous. You think this is good, right? This is
Reconstruction
not
Investment
real.
Fund.
And I'm going to bring up the real numbers for you. All right, we're going to compare them right now. There's the Dow. That's what they've got. That's what Trump is sharing on Truth Social, okay? Do you want to see what the Dow actually looks like? Ready? We're going to go to, what is it? How about the 1 month, right? April 2nd. Today's May 2nd. So it's been officially 1 month since Liberation Day, I believe he called it. Look at the market. This is what the Dow looks like right now. This is what Donald Trump is sharing on fucking Truth Social. Look at the difference. Look at the difference between reality and propaganda. That's on purpose, bros. Oh, thank you for the donations. We've got a $5 donation. Quote, it's not the government's job to support people. Sir, that's their whole job, is to work. We the people. Yes, I know, but these people are stupid. $9.99 from Leandre. This guy's a lost cause. I don't understand how you have the patience to argue with this idiot. P.S. Keep up the good work, Valenti. I do it because I have semblances of hope. I believe that these are young people who do not know what they're saying, and there is a chance to bring them back to the OAL so that by the time they are grown, functioning adults that have children, that they pass down democracy. They pass down the idea of democracy, not the idea of fascism. I have to have faith, because if I get rid of faith, there's no point in doing this. How do you become a member on here? I can't find the join button. Apparently you can't join on iPhones, which is fucking stupid. I'm 19, I am young, but I support Trump, not Kamala. Ben, I'm frankly certain that I could put you through a 4-question plus 1 bonus question demagnification process, and you'll come out either not supporting Trump or admitting that you're in a cult. It's a 4-question process with a bonus question, and I could do it with any of you. Texas Carnage, any MAGA supporter in here, I could put you through the demagnification process. We do this live. I've converted... chat, 10 fucking MAGA people over the past 2 weeks? Sure, bro. Okay, but listen, if you want to participate in this 4-question demagnification process, you need to participate willingly. You need to actually be willing to have a conversation with me. You can't come in here, with your fucking shield up. No matter what you say, I'm gonna deflect it. You need to be able to process the information I'm saying, okay? So if you want to do it, let's do it. You guys want to do it? You need to be genuine. You need to approach this with genuine, independent thinking. Okay? You'll be honest? Okay. All right, let's do this. Would you be okay with me recording this? Just because, I mean, it's recorded anyway. It's live. But if this works, I want to be able to show people that there is hope left and it can be done. You're okay with that? Okay, let me click record. What's up, guys? Welcome to a very strange episode of the Valenti VOD. I'm going to pull up the stream here for you. I want you to see the chat. We've got 2 Trump supporters in here, and they are willing to allow me to attempt my 4-question plus 1 bonus question demagnification process. We've done this live many a time, and we've converted, I believe, 10 different MAGA people over the past 2 weeks, but we're gonna try it. We got $10 donation here. Much love from Tampa, bro. Do you think the Orange is plotting to make it for the migrant workforce shortage by starting shit with Mexico and taking POWs and forcing them to work as punishment via 13th? I do not. I don't believe that he wants to use slave labor. I believe they want to use AI. But regardless, we're going to start this demagnification process. It's going to be short. It's going to be sweet. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Let's see if we can get it done. So, this is going to be a lot of questions and answers, okay? So I'm going to make sure that we have the chat up practically the whole time. But the first question, and this is for our 2 MAGA people in the chat. Which one is more important to you? The United States Constitution or Donald Trump? Which one is more important to you? Easy question. That's question 1. Let me get the chat up so that we can get some answers. So, Ben and Texas. Those are the two MAGA guys. They both said Constitution. Good. I'm glad you said that, because part of this demagnification process is this, and I hope you would agree. If you said Donald Trump, I would have ended it here, because there is no converting. That is insane. Would you agree that that is cult-like behavior? If you had answered Donald Trump, there'd be no point, right? Let me get the chat up again. Yes, that's cult-like. Okay, so you agree there. Okay, so here's my first question to you. In the United States Constitution, it says that all persons in the United States are entitled to due process under the law, okay? And it's a fairly simple question here, because cruel and unusual punishment is embedded within that. Do you support deporting U.S. citizens to a gulag in El Salvador? That's question 2. Do you support sending U.S. citizens to a gulag in El Salvador? No. Okay, now you're going to watch Donald Trump say that he does.
You mentioned that you're open to deporting individuals that aren't foreign aliens but are criminals to El Salvador. Does that include potentially U.S. citizens, fully naturalized Americans?
If they're criminals and if they hit people with baseball bats over their head that happen to be 90 years old, and if they rape 87-year-old women in Coney Island, Brooklyn, yeah, that includes them. What, do you think there's a special category of person? They're as bad as anybody that comes in. We have bad ones too. And I'm all for it, because we can do things with the president for less money and have great security. And we have a huge prison population. We have a huge number of prisons, and then we have the private prisons, and some are operated well, I guess, and some aren't. But he does a great job with that. We have others that we're negotiating with too. But no, if it's a homegrown criminal, I have no problem. Now, we're studying the laws right now. Pam is studying. If we can do that, that's good. And I'm talking about violent people. I'm talking about really bad people. Really bad people. Every bit as bad as the ones coming in.
So there we have Donald Trump saying with his own words that he supports sending U.S. citizens to a gulag in El Salvador. You said, both of you said, that you do not support that. So part of the question is this. Do you still support Donald Trump, even though he wants to violate the Constitution and begin sending U.S. citizens born on U.S. soil to the camp in El Salvador? Do you still support Donald Trump? Let me get the chat up. We've got a yes. Okay, so that one didn't work. So now it's time for the next question. Question 3. Do you know that the Constitution says there is a 2-term limit for presidents? Do you know that? That the 22nd Amendment says you can only serve 2 terms as the president? Yes, we talked about this yesterday. Okay, so my next question is this. You said earlier that you support the Constitution more than Donald Trump. So here's the question. Do you want to amend the Constitution for the sole purpose of Donald Trump running a 3rd term? Yes or no? Do you support amending the Constitution for the sole purpose? Yes, Obama can run too. I'm so glad you said that, Ben, because no, he can't. That's part of that's why I said the sole purpose. You are incorrect. Andy Oggle's 22nd Amendment. Google search. So, here is the proposed amendment to the 22nd Amendment. Now, we're going to read it slowly so you can digest it. No person shall be elected to the office of president more than 3 times. Well, that's where you see Trump being allowed to run a 3rd term. But the next part is important. Nor be elected to any additional term after being elected to 2 consecutive terms. That means you can't run a 3rd term if you had 2 consecutive terms. That is directly barring Obama from running against Donald Trump. So let me ask again. Do you support amending the Constitution of the United States for the sole purpose of Donald Trump running a 3rd term, even though you said when we started that the Constitution matters more than Trump? Yes, if it's legal. See, guys, this is why I told you. I said that these people are probably TFGs. Now, the very last part that I have to show you, because clearly the Constitution doesn't matter to you, because you support violating it to deport U.S. citizens, and you support violating it to allow Trump to run a 3rd term. Now it is time for the bonus question. Do you support this 4-year-old girl and her 7-year-old sister facing a deportation judge without their parents or an attorney? Do you support this 4-year-old girl and her 7-year-old sister facing a deportation judge without their parents or an attorney? Come on. This is the bonus question. Are they citizens? No. And I'm not saying do you support them being deported? I'm saying, do you support them facing a judge without their parents and without an attorney? That's what I'm asking you. It has nothing to do with deportation. Do you support them facing a judge, a deportation judge, without their parents or an attorney? Citizens above illegals. I'm not saying citizens above, I'm not saying illegals above citizens. I'm asking you very plainly, do you support, because Donald Trump, I'm going to read this for you. The Trump regime terminated part of a $200 million contract that funds attorneys and other legal services for unaccompanied children. Scroll down here. There's 26,000 children across the country who need to face deportation judges, and they're unaccompanied. Their parents aren't with them. And this program provided them with an attorney. So my question is very simple. Do you support 26,000 children facing deportation judges without their parents or an attorney? Ben doesn't support that. Ben doesn't support that. Texas seems to support this. Okay. So, this is the wrap up. This is, we both said no. No, Texas, you said you support this. Maybe I'm confused. Please tell me, Texas, do you support 26,000 children facing deportation judges without their parents or an attorney? Do you support that? No, he said, okay, so Ben doesn't support that. We both said no. I want to get it from Texas's mouth because I missed it. Ben said he doesn't support that, which I'm glad to hear, Ben. And Texas doesn't support that. Okay, so now we're going to wrap it up. This is the conclusion. So I asked you some very basic questions, and we're going to go over your answers. I asked you if the Constitution mattered more than Donald Trump. You said yes. Then I asked you if you support violating the Constitution because Donald Trump says it's okay to send U.S. citizens to El Salvador. You said that's okay. So you immediately refuted your first point. Then you said you support amending the Constitution for the sole purpose of Donald Trump running a 3rd term. So again, you prove that you don't care about the Constitution. However, when we brought up the children, You guys at least had some sanctity of humanity, and you said, all right, their children, even if they do get deported, they should have an attorney, which I'm glad that you hear that. So the final question is this. After everything we just went through, and this is a small example of the stuff that he's done, after everything that we just went through, do you still proudly support Donald Trump? Let me get the chat up. After everything we just saw, do you still proudly support Donald Trump? Just raise my Trump flag higher. See? So that's, guys, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That guy's a cultist. That guy's a cultist. There's nothing Trump can do that'll make him stop supporting him. He's part of the 20%. Ben says, I don't know, man. Ben is starting to flop. Ben probably isn't a cultist. Carnage is too far gone. But, so Ben, now that you see what you have to stand shoulder to shoulder with, because if you want to support Donald Trump, that guy Carnage, Texas Carnage, that's the guy you got to put your shoulder next to and say that's your fellow man. So just choose. Do you want to join the normal people, the OAL, the people who understand that Donald Trump is a threat to American democracy, or do you want to stand shoulder to shoulder with Texas Carnage? It's up to you. It's really up to you for who you want to stand shoulder to shoulder with. And just so you know, Ben, the OAL, the Only Americans Left, we are an amalgamation of all different political values. There are Republicans in here. There are libertarians in here. There are communists. There are anarchists. There are liberals. There are socialists. All of us, we have very differing political values, and we do not agree on everything. But one thing we all agree on is that Donald Trump is a threat to American democracy. You can want big government. You can want small government. You can want no government. But Trump wants Trump government. I don't know, but the news lie like that a lot. That wasn't the news, dog. I showed you videos of Donald Trump saying it himself. That's not news. That was Andy Ogles' actual proposition. This is not the news. This is ogles.house.gov. This is this congressman's website. This is his proposition. This is that amendment to the Constitution. This isn't mainstream media. This is documented evidence. We have direct quotes from the court. Like for those children, a 7-year-old boy wearing a shirt emblazoned with a pizza cartoon who spun a toy windmill. An 8-year-old girl and her 4-year-old sister in a tie-dye shirt squeezing a pink plushie doll and stuffing it into her sleeve. None of which accompanied by parents or attorneys. And the judge had to speak to them like a baby so that they could understand because they are babies. These are babies. The judge said this: the reason why we're here is because the government of the United States wants you to leave the United States. It's my job to figure out if you have to leave. It's also my job to figure out if you should stay. We're talking about stuff that would, I don't know if you're Christian, but this is the type of shit that would make your God weep. Weep! This is a 4-year-old girl. Your Christ would weep. So, I do want to wrap up this video. We're going to keep the live going, but Ben says, I don't think I can support that. So, I'll ask you one last time, Ben, before I do end this. Ben, do you still proudly support Donald Trump, even though he wants to deport U.S. citizens, violate the Constitution in order to run a 3rd and 4th term? He said this himself. And he wants 26,000 children to face a deportation judge without their parents or an attorney. He has not deported any Americans yet. That's not true. That's not true. They've already deported a 2-year-old child, a U.S.-born citizen. A 2-year-old child with, oh my God, 2-year-old U.S. citizen deported. You're incorrect. A 2-year-old U.S. citizen appears to have been deported with no meaningful process. You said you don't? So we converted Ben? We converted Ben, ladies and gentlemen. Now listen, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, I know we strung 1 for 2. You know, Texas, this is actually a really good video for you to see. If you were reading the chat, Ben is a young man, confused, propagandized, lied to relentlessly because this nation is built upon lies. But when shown videos from the horse's mouth, when faced with his religious values compared to the Trump regime, he abandoned within 20 minutes. This is a 17-minute long video. And then on the other side, you've got Texas Carnage. You saw it. That's a cultist. You saw, as he said, the Constitution matters more than Trump. And then as soon as we saw that Trump was usurping the Constitution, he said, well, no, it's okay because Trump is doing it. That's what we're at. Or the 4-year-old girl. Well, if they're illegal, then fuck them. They're barely human. If you are watching this and you are on the fringe and you don't know what to do, you have to choose whether you want to stand shoulder to shoulder with Texas Carnage or with Ben and the rest of the OAL. Ben and I probably disagree on 99% of everything. But he's smart enough to see that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. Anyway, if you're here on YouTube, you stay. If you're watching this pre-recorded on YouTube, thank you for tuning in. I hope this gave you a semblance of hope. Big shout out to Ben. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Sorry about that. Catch you on the next Valenti VOD. Thanks, Ben. All hail Lord Trump. Yeah, that's my point, Texas. You're proving my point, Texas. You're proving my point. What happened to your videos? On TikTok? I got permabanned again. That's the 9th time. Let's see if I got unbanned. I did not. Deported a little girl without her parents, brother. Yep. That's what Trump and MAGA is. And now that you've abandoned MAGA, maybe you will start to see how fucking evil these people are. Texas will support it. Texas will support everything Donald Trump does. There's not one thing that Donald Trump could do that Texas would not support. Do you support bodily autonomy? Yes, I do. Why do you keep getting permabanned? Because I'm a dissident of the Fuhrer, and you live in a Nazi regime. I have 3 million followers, and every day I tell them breaking news about how Donald Trump is destroying democracy. So his little fascist rat followers spam report me with anything and everything that they can to try and get my account pulled. What's your question, Master Payne? The alternative is supporting a party that don't believe in Jesus. Again, you're proving my point, Texas. Do you believe that you have to believe in Jesus Christ in order to be a good person? Do you genuinely think that if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, you're a bad person? If you don't believe in Jesus, you will not enter the kingdom. Okay, so do you believe that if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, you're a bad person? She responded with, immigration court is not civil, not criminal. Dude, you just keep on putting her in the corner, Master Payne. You just keep on saying over and over again, do you support 26,000 children facing a deportation judge without their parents or an attorney? You repeat yourself relentlessly and force her into a corner, or him, or whoever it is, and make them admit that they are an evil person. Crispy with the loyalist. Thank you, Crispy, for becoming a loyalist. As your character, no, but it is a sin. So then why are you saying that the other option is to support people who don't support Jesus? Like, are you saying that you shouldn't be a political leader if you don't believe in Jesus Christ? That is what you said. You said that you should not be a political leader if you don't believe in Jesus Christ. Is that what you believe in? I never said that. Yes, it is. You said the other option is to vote for people who don't believe in Jesus. Why is that a bad thing? Answer that. Why is it a bad thing to vote for somebody who doesn't believe in Jesus? There are many Christian Dems. I know, we're going to get to that after. Nothing. He's got no answer. He's got no answer. You can't be Christian and support everything the left does. Nobody's asking you to support everything that everybody does except for Donald Trump. Donald Trump wants blind loyalty, and he expects you to support everything that he does. That's the only person who wants blind loyalty. I don't expect you to support everything that I support at all. We have like an unofficial Discord. Jack can add you to it. I'm thinking of making an official one. I just said I don't support everything Trump says. Yes, you do. Name one thing Donald Trump has done that you don't support. Name one thing that Donald Trump has done that you don't support. Said no to the kids? Name another, because I taught you that one. Name another. $5. This is a country based on religious freedom. It's possible to have different religious views and still have the same basic morals. Yeah, we'll tell that to these Christian nationalists. I don't support most things you support, but I'm a huge supporter of you, Chris. Thank you, bro. If he tried to change the Constitution to run a third term, I wouldn't support it. He already is. They're already running the Trump 2028 campaign. He's already doing that. So you should already, according to your own definition, no longer support Trump. However, you're immediately going to move the goalpost that you yourself just laid because you're in a cult. They're already trying to change the Constitution to run a third term. That's a proposed amendment. They're already selling Trump 2028 merch. Steve Bannon has already begun the Trump 2028 campaign. There's no legal standing. They're trying to circumvent the Constitution, brother. Are you a fucking idiot? Are you actually stupid? And also, what do you mean there's no legal standing? Donald Trump has violated the law. Donald Trump has violated the law repeatedly. Why do you think the law would stop him? Wait until something gets sent to the House and it's all talk. It literally was sent to the House, you fucking idiot. You're so stupid. I can't fucking believe you. You're so fucking stupid. Representative Ogles proposes amending the 22nd Amendment to allow Trump to serve third term. This was literally proposed to the fucking House, dude. Congressman Andy Ogles introduced a House joint resolution to amend the Constitution. So, now that you laid this fucking groundwork, you said, wait till it's sent to the House. Now that it's been sent to the House, you said you'll no longer support Donald Trump. Now please move the goalpost and keep supporting Donald Trump, you fucking boot-licking cultist. Please, let me see it. Let me see it. Watch. Hasn't gone through and it won't pass. You still support it, right? You still support the Trump administration, right? You still support them, you boot-licking cuck. You have no morals. You will always support Trump. When they legally amend this and Trump legally runs his third term, you will still support it because you don't think for yourself. You're a boot-licking cultist. It's fucking hilarious. It's hilarious. He goes, well, wait till they propose it to the House. Then I'll stop supporting it. Oh, here, it's been proposed to the House. Well, it'll never pass, brother. And then it's going to pass. And he's going to go, well, he'll never actually run. And then he'll run. And then you know what you're going to say? I actually supported it the whole time, brother. I was fucking with you. Because that's what you do. That's how MAGA operates. If it goes to the House and said, I won't vote for him. Yes, you will. Yes, you fucking will. Why are you pretending? Yes, you will, dude. You will. Your profile picture is a Make America Great Again hat. You will vote for Donald Trump in 2028. Stop pretending like you have American values. You don't. You forgot about America. You adopted Donald Trump. You would let him fuck your wife, dude. It's fucking pathetic. It's pathetic. I'm saying I won't. All I can do is tell you. And I know for a fact that you will. Because we've gone through all this unconstitutional shit and you still support him. There's nothing he can do that will make you stop supporting him. You're in a cult. If you haven't stopped supporting him now, that means you're always going to support him. At this point in the game, this late in the game, just destroying democracy, destroying due process, destroying the Constitution. The fact that you still support him right now means you will always support him. That's all it is. Why is it bad to vote for a third term? Dude, I can't even entertain that. You're so fucking stupid. That's what I mean. Mark, you are anti-American by definition. You're an anti-American. You're an enemy of the state. You support destroying the United States Constitution to allow one man to have a third term because you literally lick his fucking taint and blow on his shaft. You probably have the red hat. You probably have the Trump flag behind you. If you play Call of Duty, you probably change your clan tag to Trump. You have a hyper homoerotic relationship with a 78-year-old man. You probably call Trump daddy. I can't help you. You're in a cult. You're in a cult. You're in a cult. Doesn't the Supreme Court get some say in amendments? The Supreme Court just ruled 9-0 unanimously that Trump brings home Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and they refused to do it. The Supreme Court is moot. It has no power. If the President of the United States does not follow a Supreme Court ruling, he's no longer a president. He's a dictator. Too bad Trump's over the Supreme Court. Exactly. And you cheer for it, right? You're happy that Trump usurped the Supreme Court, right, Mark? You're happy. Texas is laughing. Okay, so you guys are just happy that the Supreme Court ruled 9-0 and Trump said, fuck you. You're happy that the Supreme Court has no power. Answer that. Are you happy that the Supreme Court has no power? Yes, bro, it's corrupt. Trump's not. Okay, so, dude, again, you're an enemy of the state. You're an anti-American. I wish you ill. El Salvador president said, how is he going to smuggle someone that's not a citizen? Yeah, so Trump has the power to bring him back, and so does Nayib Bukele. These are presidents. These are leaders of their nations. They are refusing to, despite the fact that the Supreme Court ordered them to unanimously 9-0. So you're just advocate. You support the Supreme Court not having power. Says the communist. You don't know what communism is. Tell me what communism is. Tell me what communism is. Also, I'm not a communist, but that doesn't matter to you. Anybody you dislike is a communist. The courts have no power in El Salvador. So I'm going to ask you again, Texas Carnage. You are okay with the Supreme Court having no power? You are okay with this? Communism is Soviet Union and China. Jesus Christ, you are so fucking stupid. I'm not even going to entertain this guy. He's too fucking dumb. Thank you for the $10, Curacao. Are you familiar with the history of the Dominican dictator Trujillo? I am. My mother believes that a Trump dictatorship is fine because our country of the Dominican Republic was better when he was in power. Thoughts? I don't want to be rude, but I think your mother's a fucking idiot. Anybody who willingly wants to live under a dictatorship is unironically like a dumb person. Your mother's dumb. AUKUS reallocation of wealth and communes. That's communism. Yeah, you just Googled that. But again, you still don't know what communism. You don't even know what that means. Reallocation of wealth. You don't know what any of that means. But also, I'm not a communist. Yes, I did. Pete Hegseth got a makeup studio approved in the Pentagon. Anyway, I gotta make these thumbnails and get these videos uploaded. Nice. I've also got some backlogged videos to keep because we made a couple today. Very happy about that. Let's get these uploaded. We gotta make a thumbnail. Oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it all later. No, I'm not going to be live, Connor. I'm probably going to end the live in the next 5 minutes. I'm going to end the live in the next 5 minutes, guys. I got thumbnails to make. I got videos to upload. I got work to do. I appreciate the banter, Chris. Listen, I appreciate the banter as well. I do. Listen, I wish you well, and I hope that, I'm not Christian. I'm Norse pagan, but I will pray that you get saved because, brother, you have abandoned American values for the sole purpose of your cult leader staying in power. You know I'm a regular. I know you're a regular, and I have faith that maybe one day you'll see the light. I have a question before I end this for you, Texas, because this is an insane question, but I'm going to ask you it. First question, there's two. First question, are you a white Christian straight man? Are you a white Christian straight man? Okay, you're Hispanic. All right, well, but Mark is. But regardless, I'm going to ask you this. Hypothetical guy here. We're going to call him John, okay? Here's John. John was born in New York. John's parents were born in New York. John is a U.S. citizen. John fucking murders some 87-year-old lady. Okay? So now, John is a criminal. A violent criminal. But he was born in the United States. And John is Christian. And John is white. And John is married, okay? He should go to prison. I agree. John should go to prison. That's not my question. My question is, should John be put on a plane, flown to El Salvador, and then your taxpayer dollars, we pay El Salvador to put John in a gulag where he's forced to work and never see sunlight again until the day he dies? As a fellow Chris, my answer is no. Okay, now here's the thing. Whether your opinion does not matter right now with this next part. Facts don't care about your feelings. Donald Trump does support that. He said it. We watched it. If that line isn't the line of no return for you, I fear you're in a cult. If he deports John, and you go, well, I guess that's the new norm, I fear you may be in a cult. Okay? Okay? I answered that already, though. I said, no, John can stay at my house. Okay, but there's the thing, Texas. That's going to happen. That's gonna happen. Probably already has. John is a citizen. Trump said no to that. Trump did not say no to that. We watched that with our own fucking words. Hold on. We have Texas Carnage here is on your side. Trump did say that. Texas, back. Do you want, before I go, do you want to see Trump say that? Do you not believe me? Do you think I'm lying right now? Do you think I'm lying? You don't believe me? Before I go, wait, are you serious? Do you think I'm lying? Do you think I'm lying? Okay. Mark, will you admit that I'm not lying if I prove to you that I'm not lying? Will you admit that I'm not lying if I prove to you that I'm not lying? Very deceitful? Okay. Also, guys, get ready. He's going to move the goalpost. Yes, if it's on camera. Okay.
You mentioned that you're open to deporting individuals that aren't foreign aliens but are criminals to El Salvador. Does that include potentially U.S. citizens, fully naturalized Americans?
If they're criminals and if they hit people with baseball bats over their head that happen to be 90 years old, and if they rape 87-year-old women in Coney Island, Brooklyn, yeah, that includes them. What, do you think there's a special category of person? They're as bad as anybody that comes in. We have bad ones too. And I'm all for it. Because we can do things.
Get ready, guys. He's going to move the goalposts. He's going to move the goalposts.
The president for less money and have great security. And we have a huge prison population. We have a huge number of prisons. And then we have the private prisons. And some are operated well, I guess, and some aren't. But he does a great job with that. We have others that we're negotiating with too. But no, if it's a homegrown criminal, I have no problem. Now, we're studying the laws right now. Pam is studying. If we can do that, that's good. And I'm talking about violent people. I'm talking about really bad people. Really bad people. Every bit as bad as the ones coming in.
Okay, so Mark, he said it. You're wrong. Yep, there's the goalpost. He's studying the laws only if it's legal. But wait, Mark, I thought you said that he didn't say that. I thought, and earlier when I gave you the example of John, remember John? You said, no, that's illegal. By the way, it isn't illegal. It's not legal. Guys, studying the laws, it's been studied. It's not legal. It's unconstitutional. It's illegal. So now that we've studied the law and we know it's illegal. Do you support it? Well, I don't see that clip. I know you don't see that fucking clip because you support Trump. You get spoon-fed propaganda from Fox. We're watching it again.
You mentioned that you're open to deporting individuals that aren't foreign aliens but are criminals to El Salvador. Does that include potentially U.S. citizens, fully naturalized Americans?
If they're criminals and if they hit people with baseball bats over their head that happen to be 90 years old, and if they rape 87-year-old women in Coney Island, Brooklyn, yeah, that includes them.
So yeah, you now, because you're in a cult, you're going to forsake everything we just said about hypothetical John, everything we just said, because you don't have beliefs. And you're going to go, no, it's okay, because Donald Trump said it's okay. You're in a cult. You're a bootlicking cultist. You're in a cult. You're in a cult. You're in a cult. You just said earlier, no, I wouldn't support that. It's illegal. You're in a cult. You're in a cult. You're in a cult. You're in a cult. Now you're going to support it. Now you're going to move the goalpost. Why? Because this man said so. Your cult leader said it's okay. You're in a cult. You're in a cult. If it's legal, it's not legal, Mark. It's not legal. It's not legal. It's not legal. You still support it because you're in a cult. You're a bootlicking cultist. There's nothing Donald Trump can do that'll make you stop supporting him. You're in a cult. I don't support it if it's illegal. It's illegal. Do you support it? 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 Mark, it's illegal. Do you support it? No? Oh, well, your fucking president does.
If they're criminals and if they hit people with baseball bats over their head that happen to be 90 years old, and if they rape 87-year-old women in Coney Island, Brooklyn, yeah, that includes them.
So, do you still support Donald Trump even though you don't support deporting U.S. citizens to a gulag in El Salvador and he does even though it's illegal? Do you still support Donald Trump, Mark? Do you still proudly Yes, of course you do, because you're in a cult. Hey, Mark, do you think the Constitution is more important than Donald Trump? Watch this, Mark. Let me make you feel really fucking stupid. Do you think the Constitution matters more than Donald Trump? Do you think the Constitution matters more than Donald Trump? Yes. Do you support amending the Constitution for the sole purpose of Donald Trump running a third term? Do you support amending the Constitution for the sole purpose of Donald Trump running a third term? Do you support amending the Constitution for the sole purpose of Donald Trump running a third term? Me? No? Okay. Do you still support Donald Trump even though he wants to amend the Constitution so he can run a third term? Do you still support Donald Trump even though he wants to amend the Constitution and run a third term? Yes, if it's legal. So the Constitution does not matter more. Okay, so third question. Do you support 26,000 children facing a deportation judge without their parents or an attorney? Do you support 26,000 children facing a deportation judge without their parents or an attorney? Fake news, bring it up. Sure thing, sweet boy. Sure thing. Here you go. 4-year-old migrant girl and other kids go to court in New York City with no lawyer. The cruelty is apparent. 26,000 children across the country are losing an attorney because the Trump regime terminated a $200 million contract that gives attorneys and legal services for unaccompanied children. Here's a little quote from it. The parties include a 7-year-old boy wearing a shirt emblazoned with a pizza cartoon who spun a toy windmill while the judge spoke. There's an 8-year-old girl and her 4-year-old sister in a tie-dye shirt who squeezed a pink plushie toy and stuffed it into her sleeve. None of these children were accompanied by parents or attorneys. They had to face the deportation judge who spoke to them like they're babies because they're fucking babies. And here's the quote. The reason we're here is because the government of the United States wants you to leave the United States. It's my job to figure out if you have to leave. It's also my job to figure out if you have to stay. So, very basic question, Mark. Do you stand with Donald Trump in his decision to make 26,000 children face a deportation judge without their parents or a fucking attorney? Do you support that? Are they illegal? Your Jesus Christ is going to turn you away at the pearly gates. I hope you understand that. You're telling me the child that was made in God's image, made by your Lord Jesus Christ, who needs an attorney, the 4-year-old girl who's facing a judge, who needs an attorney, you just want to know if they're illegal. Your God is turning you away at the pearly gates. I hope you know that. Do you know that? Have you accepted that? Yeah, it'd be St. Peter, whatever. Do you understand that St. Peter is not letting you in? Okay, that's too far. Yeah, that's wrong. Oh, yeah, but here's the thing, Mark. You still support the Trump regime because you're in a cult. It has nothing to do with politics. You disagree with everything he does politically. But because he's Donald Trump, you must stay loyal to the Fuhrer. You're in a fucking cult. You're in a cult. Again, I don't support everything. If you still support him after everything he's done, you're in a cult. He has violated the Constitution, violated Supreme Court orders, dismantled our government institutions illegally through Doge. He is a fucking criminal with 34 felonies. He's the most anti-union, anti-Christian man to ever hold office of presidency. If you still support him, you're in a cult. The stock market just had a worse April than the Great Depression. There's nothing he can do that will make you stop supporting him. No, you don't support everything he's done, but there's nothing he can do that will make you abandon ship. You're in a cult. You're in a cult, dude. You don't support all the big things Biden? Of course I don't, because I'm not in a cult. I think Biden was a horrible president. I think Kamala was a terrible candidate. I think Biden's brain started leaking out of his fucking ears in 2021. You're incapable of saying that Donald Trump is a shit president because you're in a cult. He's bringing common sense back. Yeah, by getting rid of due process. You do know that he's gotten rid of due process. Did you not see his interview with, what was his fucking name, guys? What was his name? We liked him. Terry? My family supports Trump, so I'm gonna. Oh, so you're just incapable of thinking for yourself. Got it. And you still don't think you're in a cult. Everyone around me supports the supreme leader, so I must support the supreme leader. That's called a cult, dumbass. Unfucking real. That's the DNC. Do you think I'm a liberal? Do you think I support the DNC? This is what I mean. You're so deep in a cult that you think anybody who doesn't support Donald Trump is in the DNC. Yeah, that's what you're in if you're not. Mark, you're proving my point. You've been propagandized to a point where if you don't support the Fuhrer, you're all liberals. Brother, you don't even understand that there are multiple different sections of the political aisle. It's not conservatives and liberals. That's not all there is. You are so stupid. So what are you, a socialist? Yes. And now you're immediately going to go, so you're a communist because you've been propagandized by the American failure of an education system. You believe that all socialism is communism. You don't even know what communism is. You just know that it's a bad thing because of the Red Scare. You are so propagandized, it's pitiful. Even worse, Mark, you don't know what socialism is. Tell me right now, what is socialism? Don't Google it. What is socialism? Tell me right now, what is socialism, Mark? Don't Google it. What is socialism? More state control. That's it? So you think that if I pulled up the definition of socialism, it's going to say more state control? You think that socialism, the entire political ideology of socialism, is more state control over the means of production? The state. Not democratization of the workforce, not the building of social safety nets, not like the reallocation of your wealth. No. That's what you think? You're proving my point. You don't know what socialism is. And you go, oh, it's so bad. You don't even know what it is. You've been propagandized. You've been told to think it's bad. And you don't even know what it is. You never even had the audacity to look it up. You never even had like a thought to yourself. Socialism has never worked. Why would it work in a hyper-capitalist system? Because every single nation that has ever attempted socialism has had the Western world try to fucking destroy them. If you can name one socialist nation that hasn't had Western involvement, I will Venmo you $50. One socialist nation. And the reason why is because if socialism succeeds, then people in America will realize that capitalism is a fucking failure. Scandinavian countries. So thank you. That was the trap that you just walked into. You're talking about wildly successful countries. You're talking about the one example of socialism that didn't have the Western boot on its neck. And it's wildly successful. Unless, are you about to tell me that Scandinavia is like a crime-riddled country and broke? Is that what you're going to say? You're talking about a very successful socialist nation. Socialist nations. Sweden is crime-ridden. First of all, that is the worst spelling I've ever seen in my life. So no, Sweden has a far lower crime rate than the United States of America. So again, and I hope you don't think that a completely crimeless society is possible. If you do, you're a fucking idiot. But you do understand that Sweden has a lower crime rate than the United States, right? They have a city worse than Baghdad. Look it up. No, so again, you're talking about propaganda. The fact that you don't even know the name of the city means that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Please tell me, what's the name of the city that's worse than Baghdad? Please. Tell the class. Oh, yeah, I mean, FDR was a socialist. FDR used socialist policies to bring us out of the Great Depression and bring about the golden era of America. He was such a successful politician because this is what happens when you elect democratic socialists. He was such a successful politician that he won 4 fucking terms and we had to put in term limits to prevent him from getting a 5th. Well, actually, he died. FDR was horrible. Okay, so Mark, you just don't know American history. FDR is indisputably one of the best presidents in American history. Even Republicans agree. You're simply stupid. You're very stupid, Mark. Tell me one bad thing FDR did. Sweden has less people than America. Yeah, it's called a crime rate, dumbass. Percentage. So please tell me one thing FDR did that was bad. Yeah, even Trump supports FDR. Anything, Mark. You said FDR was terrible. Please tell me something terrible that he did. Give him a second, guys. He's probably asking ChatGPT real quick. Hey, Chris, as a high school dropout, I want to thank you for always having the live chat open. These people make me feel so smart. I unironically know 8th graders who are smarter than these people. I'm not kidding. FDR covered up the death of his cousin Kermit Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt's second son. You literally just used ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT to tell me some dark things that FDR has done. So you're saying FDR was a terrible president, and your reasoning is he covered up the death of his cousin Kermit Roosevelt. Yeah, dude, I hate to be the one to tell you this. You're wildly stupid. There are very stupid Trump supporters, and I've talked to them, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. You're dumber than the majority of Trump supporters I've talked to. You're incredibly stupid. Incredibly. It's insane. You're insanely stupid, Mark. And I mean that insultingly. Disrespect. With disrespect. You are so stupid. It's unbelievable. Actually embarrassing. Japanese detention camps, Chris. There you go. Now you got something bad he actually did. Japanese detention facilities. Yeah, that was horrible. That was terrible. Does that make FDR a terrible president? No. He's probably, I would say, the second best president in American history. Bet you support that? Japanese internment? No. That's heinous. Unconstitutional even. Violation of their constitutional rights. Who's the first best? Abraham Lincoln. Best president in American history, Abraham Lincoln. Second best president in American history, FDR. Didn't he do the internment camps? Yes, he did. So when Trump violates the Constitution, he's a cult leader, but when FDR does it, he's okay. No, Trump is a cult leader because he's a cult leader. And the thing is, FDR didn't violate the Constitution. The Supreme Court even ruled in 1986 that it wasn't a violation of the Constitution, but it was absolutely heinous. I believe it's a violation of the Constitution. The Supreme Court disagrees with me. Chris, he just said it's unconstitutional, but he just said FDR is the second greatest president of all time. What he did was legally constitutional. The Supreme Court ruled it was constitutional. I still think it was unconstitutional. I also still think FDR was the second best president in American history. Go ahead and move the goalpost. Oh my God. This is embarrassing for you guys. You can't even bring up the goalpost. You're not allowed to say the word goalpost after the hoops that you jump through to cradle Donald Trump's fucking cock. You're not allowed to bring up the goalpost. And I'm not moving it. What I'm telling you is what he did with Japanese internment camps was awful. And he's still the second best president of all time. Chris, permaban Texas. Suck my dick. I'm not even kidding. Permaban him. I'm not going to deal with this level of intellectualism. Get him out. Permaban. I'm not dealing with that lack of intellect. Not going to happen. You fascist. You don't know what fascism is. What is fascism? We're going to do this whole thing again. We just did it with socialism. Mark, what is fascism? Real quick, ask ChatGPT. He'll tell you. It's complicated. You're so fucking stupid, dude. Holy shit. Isn't there like 14 key characteristics? Yep, and Trump meets all 14. Trump meets all 14 characteristics of fascism. You fit all of them? No, I don't. Made a second account immediately. I figured you would. Welcome back. No, but seriously, Texas, I'm not going to deal with that level of a lack of intellect. If you're going to just, like, fuck around like that, I'm just going to kick you. There's no point in having that conversation. Chris, you are being hypocritical? Tell me how. How am I being hypocritical? So because he disagrees with you and you ban him and violate his rights? First of all, do you actually think that me banning you from this YouTube chat is a violation of your rights? First, do you think that is a violation of your rights? First of all, me banning you from my YouTube chat. Nah, that's hyperbole. Okay, good. I know you're stupid, but I didn't think that you were brain dead. Second of all, I'm not banning him because he disagrees with me. I'm banning him because I have dealt with Texas for days now, acting as a troll. He doesn't even mean what he's saying. I hope you understand that. He's not actually a Trump supporter. We use him as a way to get other Trump supporters to realize how stupid they are, because you have to rub shoulder to shoulder with that guy. That's not a real Trump supporter. Stop kicking me. Dude. What? He's fake? Probably. If he's... You gotta understand. If he's not faking it, that's a mentally ill person. I feel like Rosa Parks here. You guys are like demons. Mark, are you dead ass right now? Are you dead ass? Are you comparing yourself to Rosa Parks? Holy shit. It's not even offensive. It's embarrassing. That's so embarrassing. Oh, poor me. Oh, they won't let me be a fucking fascist. It's a joke. Well, it's not a fucking good one, dude. Jokes are supposed to be funny. Got you mad? You think I'm mad? Bro, I'm embarrassed for you. That was like fucking embarrassing. And is that what you're in the business of? Just making me mad? I thought you were like trying to defend your God King, Donald Trump. Or are you just here to troll the libs? Oh, I can make a second account for gaming. That's a good idea. I'm here to defend Trump. I know you are, dude. You're a fucking cultist. That's what you're here for. You're here to fucking defend your God King, even though he wouldn't even fucking spit on you. He would consider you a, like, you know, you would desecrate his spit. Trump wouldn't even piss on you if you were on fire. All right, I'm going to end the stream, but I do have one last question for Mark. Mark, do you think Donald Trump cares about you? Do you think Donald Trump cares about you? I met him during the election. Do you think Donald Trump cares about you, Mark? I'm an American. I'll ask you again, Mark. Do you think Donald Trump cares about you? Yes. You poor thing. All right, guys, thanks for tuning into the live stream. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It costs you nothing. It helps me immensely. If you do want to help the channel financially, you can donate. You could become a patron on Patreon for $5. You could become a member on YouTube for $5. You could use that Vantage subscription on Ground News, and you could buy some merch down below. Thank you very much. Love you all. I'll catch you on the Valenti VOD, which I'm going to make the thumbnail for, and then you go tune in. Yeah, have a good one, everyone.